Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
Hunter Biden's laptop.
The FBI
falsely labeled Hunter Biden information as disinformation.
Ms. Greiner was wrongfully detained.
I pled guilty to my charges, but I had no intent to break any Russian law.
Our criminal justice system is insane.
Like in violent crime.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. It is News and Views for a political trivia Thursday. We'll play in a little bit. Your category, the Wild West. It will go quick. I tested it on Benny, and he got it in about 30 seconds. So it's going to go quick, just saying when we play.
I'm not your average guy when it comes to that topic, though.
Wild West or
Wild
trivia
West.
in general?
Wild West.
Okay.
Well, trivia in general. Yeah, I'm pretty much a know-it-all.
There you go. At least that's what his wife says.
Yeah, just ask her. She'll tell you.
So Brittany Griner is going to spend the next 9 to 10 years in jail over in Russia after pleading guilty to drug possession and drug smuggling of cannabis oil last month. Mercury player, the Phoenix Mercury player, was handed a 9-year prison sentence by the Russian court, fined the equivalent of $16,400 in Russian rubles in addition to the sentence. Now, what's interesting about this, was this figuratively speaking? Did the Russian government have a gun to her head and this confession was under duress? We don't know. Wouldn't be surprised if it was, but maybe it wasn't. What's interesting, though, is over at CNN, Dana Bash claimed that the reason why she is in prison today is because of income disparity. The fact that you have NBA players making $40 million a year, and poor Brittany Griner only made $250,000 a year. And how could this be? Well, maybe you take a look at the arenas in which these people play. That might be a clue. When you have the NBA and you have the arenas full and you have people watching it on TV across the country and literally around the world, and you have the WNBA, and I don't know how large the crowds are, but my hunch is
they're not very large.
It's a fraction, a small fraction of what... But I mean, this idea, and of course, the liberals over in CNN, oh yeah, it's terrible. Oh, that's exactly what the problem is. That's like Benny and I saying, hey, you know what? News and Views is a podcast. We ought to be making the same amount of money as Joe Rogan.
I agree with that.
So there you go. CNN, you're right on. We agree with you.
On second thought, I agree with that.
The average household income is $63,000. Across the U.S.
Yeah, okay.
So she makes 4 times, basically.
Well, that's the average household income. Her individual income is $250,000.
Ah, yeah.
So average household is probably, in a lot of cases, it's husband and wife both out there working, and that's the number you get.
Yeah, and that argument's been brought up a number of times when it comes to women's sports, and particularly the women's soccer league. What is it? The pink-haired, country-hating soccer player. I don't even know her name. Can't remember her name. She talked about that, and no one ever challenges her on it. So okay, if you're going to go there, what about every professional women's sport? Whether it's professional bike. I don't know what it is. You guys make more than them, so should everybody be making the same?
The idea of this equity that everybody's got to be exactly the same is such a farce. Yeah. It's just a total farce. And if you were to follow that, which, look, the bottom line is that not pure communism? Don't they want it applied across the board to everybody?
That's exactly what it is. To each according to their abilities, and from each according to their abilities, to each according to their needs. Karl Marx.
Yeah, and we have numerous examples of how that just leads to total failure, absolute total failure. Did want to get to the story out of the News and Observer. The North Carolina Court of Appeals ruled yesterday that Governor Roy Cooper's Secretary of Health and Human Services should not be immune from a lawsuit over the administration's restrictions on large gatherings in the early months of the coronavirus pandemic. This is big. This is big, Andy. This is really big. The Department of Health and Human Services temporarily shut down the Ace Speedway. I remember we were talking about this when it happened. A small stock car racetrack in Alamance County in June of 2020 after it repeatedly defied Cooper's executive orders limiting outdoor crowds to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. The racetrack filed counterclaims alleging the department unlawfully singled out the business for its acts of protest and violated its employees' constitutional right to earn a living. The appeals court unanimously upheld a January 2021 trial court ruling denying the Department of Health and Human Services motion to dismiss Ace Speedway's claims that the agency selectively enforced the governor's orders and impeded the racetrack's ability to make money. Quote, this case makes us consider the use of overwhelming power by the state against the individual liberties of its citizens and how the use of power may be challenged, the judges wrote. Boy, this is so important that we get a Republican Supreme Court at the North Carolina Supreme Court before this case gets up there. DHHS Secretary Cody Kinsley, whose predecessor, a.k.a. Mandy Cohen, filed the 2020 order to close the Speedway, argued before the appeals court that executive officials should be immune from civil lawsuits, but the court ruled Ace's claims were sufficient to survive the secretary's motion to dismiss the lawsuit. Now, I really couldn't tell from this article whether or not Mandy Cohen is going to be held personally responsible. I hope she is, but I sort of doubt that she will be. It'll probably be the office, which, in other words, if they win this lawsuit and there's a payout on it, guess who gets to pay the bill? The taxpayers.
Yep, taxpayers.
Yeah. 3 days after Cooper issued an executive order placing a 25-person cap on all outdoor gatherings, Ace Speedway hosted approximately 2,500 spectators for its first race of the season on May 23, 2020. A sign posted at the site at a subsequent race that June labeled the 2,000-person gathering, quote, I remember this when it happened, a peaceful protest of injustice and inequality everywhere, the lawsuit states. And they did do that. I mean, they didn't just make that up for the Speedway continued to draw crowds of 1,000 or more. The governor's office ordered Alamance County Sheriff Terry Johnson to intervene. Johnson refused to issue a misdemeanor citation. The Cooper administration then closure until the emergency order expired. A court has yet to rule on the merits of Ace Speedway's claims, but the panel of 3 Republican judges drew attention Tuesday to a clause in the state constitution guaranteeing North Carolinians a right to the fruits of their labor. Recent court precedents say the cause is synonymous with the right to earn a living. The ruling noted that the order to close the racetrack restricted or otherwise interfered with the lawful operation of a business serving the public. Good. I mean, this is really good. We've been saying for a long time that the governor did not have the right, and it was unlawful for the power grab, his end around on the Council of State, which never approved his power grab. And he said, well, this was an emergency power, and of course the emergency power, which we discussed over and over again, our interpretation and the interpretation of a lot of legislators was that power was for a short-term emergency, such as a tornado or a hurricane or a fire or something along those lines, where you had to come in and make an immediate decision to save the lives of people on a short-term basis. Well, this Governor Cooper, I mean, how many months did he extend his, I should say years, did he extend this executive power?
Well, it's only recently been rescinded.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not an attorney, but if you remember that executive order, because I read it, I had to read it over and over and over again because clients would ask me. I'm not an attorney, but they still would ask me, what did I think about the exceptions? Well, at the end of the day, there was really very few businesses or organizations that were effective, churches being one of them. So I don't see how you couldn't possibly, win in a lawsuit when it's so selective. It's not based on any science at all. I mean, it just didn't make any sense. I mean, I've been in the big box stores during that time, and it would be hundreds of people, more than any church. Some churches I go to,
bingo,
and I just don't see how, unless of course it goes up and ends up going to the Supreme Court and gets
the current Supreme Court,
the current North Carolina Supreme Court, and they you know what the Democrats will do.
Anyway, it would really be fun to see Mandy Cohen personally held responsible for this, because again, until individuals who break the law, whether they're serving in the government or not, when they knowingly break the law, when it's obvious that they're breaking the law, when people draw it to their attention that you can't do this. In fact, Governor Cooper ought to be held to task for doing the end around the Council of State getting permission for this extended emergency powers, which was way out of line. When people do that, knowingly break the law, they ought to be personally held reliable.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing if at some point we have a Republican Attorney General or someone that I know and agree with on most things, and they're not enforcing the law, I would feel the same way. Yeah. It's the party should not have anything to do with it. If you don't like the law, then there's a process for that, and it doesn't involve the Attorney General or the governor selectively executing the law.
Speaking of that, stay with us. When we get back, Josh Stein, he is ignoring his job. It's malfeasance. It's clear. And what's really interesting about there's two stories, one here in North Carolina and one down in Florida. There's a lot of parallels. And in North Carolina, we're just sort of looking the other way. In Florida, DeSantis is coming down with an iron fist. We'll tell you all about that when we get back.
The Greenville Toyota Advantage has just gotten even better with the new Pre-Order Advantage. Simply pre-order the Toyota you want, then lock in today's rate or payment, and we'll honor it for 90 days. It's the Pre-Order Advantage at Greenville Toyota.
Hey, we're at Maribella's in Greenville, the new location of Maribella's on Fire Tower Road. If you haven't been to this place yet, let me tell you, you are missing out. I want to introduce my friends from Maribella's. I've got Sal, Massimo, and Pietro here. These guys are awesome. Not only do they make great food, they do a lot of things for the community, which we're going to be talking about. But Sal, let's start with you. Let's talk about the new location of Maribella's on Fire Tower Road. I'm a regular here. I love it. You guys call it Old World Pizza. Tell us what's different about your pizza.
Well, we got two kinds of pizzas. We have the traditional, American style, and then we have the Old World Pizza, which is made with fresh mozzarella. And the way they do it in Italy.
Massimo, when you talk about doing this food right, it's authentic. And when I talk about authentic, you grew up in Italy, so you grew up with this food. You know how to make it.
Yeah, because we grew up in Italy, we know the ingredient, and everything we do from scratch. And the right ingredient it's been hard for us to bring over here. And now finally we can get the right ingredient to make a right pizza.
All right, now I'm going to talk to my friend Pietro here at Maribella's. He's got the Nino's shirt on today. We're going to talk about Nino's, which is another great dining experience, upscale dining experience, on another segment upcoming. But Pietro, let's talk about Maribella's. For people who've never been to Maribella's, what's the experience going to be like when they come here? Not only pizzas, but pastas, salads, sandwiches, you got it all.
Yes, we do. We have new sandwiches that we put in this new location, and we're going to spread it to the other locations.
The guys here at Maribella's have won national pizza competitions, so you know it's good. Thanks to Sal, Massimo, and Pietro. Folks, do yourself a favor. Come to the new Maribella's here on Fire Tower Road in Greenville, or Maribella's on Greenville Boulevard, or Maribella's in Washington on Carolina Avenue. Also, don't forget upscale dining at Nino's on Red Banks Road.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Get to Greenville Toyota, where our trade buyout is still going strong. We're still out to buy more trades, and we're still going to give you our best offer. Then use that cash to trade in for a new Toyota and get our Greenville Advantage. Don't miss the trade buyout at Greenville Toyota.
This is your Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. News and Views for a Political Trivia Thursday, and your categories of the Wild West will play in just a little bit. First, let's take a quick look at your weather forecast on National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. Can't make it up. Where are our cookies, Eric Clark? It's also National Wine Day. Chocolate chip cookies and National White Wine Day. There you go.
Now you know where all the
Breakfast of Champions, yeah. Taking a look at the weather tonight, mainly clear, low around 74. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. A stray shower is possible, high near 95. And tomorrow night, again, a possibility of a thunderstorm passing through, a low of 73. Saturday, sunshine with clouds mixed in. And again, it's a duplicate. The 90s for the high with a chance of showers. And it's pretty much every day this week all the way through next Wednesday.
Until probably September 15th.
Yeah. Pretty much it. Weather brought to you by your long-term weather forecast, brought to you by Ironwood Golf and Country Club. Whether you're looking to spend your summer poolside, courtside, or greenside, Ironwood Golf and Country Club offers a variety of memberships tailored to fit your lifestyle with no initiation fee required. And listen, if you're headed to the beach, pack your clubs. Ironwood members receive reciprocal golf and dining privileges at the Beaufort Club in Beaufort and Compass Point Golf Club and Magnolia Greens Golf Club located near Wilmington. For more information, contact Membership Director Jenna Doyle. Her number is 252-752-4653. Come and join the fun at Ironwood today. It's a part of the Renaissance Golf Group. So when you join one, you really actually get 4 golf courses. So give Jenna a call. Again, her number is 752-4653. So, North Carolina's, and we talked about this before. In fact, I've talked to Tim Moore about this a little bit. North Carolina wants to return to its 20-week abortion ban. Well, I said North Carolina. The North Carolina legislature wants to return to the law that was on the books when it was knocked down by a judge. I think that was back in 2019. A federal judge blocked the 20-week abortion ban, but now it could be reinstated after the U.S. Supreme Court overruled Roe v. Wade and a related abortion ruling, Planned Parenthood versus Casey. That was the Dobbs case that brought that to light. During a press conference at the North Carolina Department of Justice, Attorney General Josh Stein yesterday, Wednesday, vowed to do everything in my power to protect reproductive freedom in the state. He urged abortion rights supporters to vote in the legislative election this November for Democrat candidates who would try to block Republican abortion bills from becoming law. And we've said this over and over again. I mean, and you have said, and you referred to it just a moment ago before we had our break, Josh, if you want to do that, get back in the state legislature. You're not a legislator anymore. If you want to change the law, if you want to create law, run for office again, not for attorney general. That's not your job now. And listen, this is just pure malfeasance. He is the attorney general. If Stein, again, wants to take this position, quit your job, run for office, run for the legislature, and see if you can get your law passed. Your job is to enforce the law, not to decide which laws you personally think are proper and which are not. You are not only not fulfilling your role as attorney general, you're actually usurping the role of the legislators. Mm-hmm. Quote, if we value women and girls having the right to make their own health care decisions, then we have to elect representatives and senators to our state legislature who will defend those rights. We know that the right to abortion care in North Carolina is on the ballot this November, so every election to come there and every election to come thereafter. And so he's using his position as attorney general now to campaign for a particular position or for candidates that happen to agree with Josh Stein.
And campaign for governor.
Exactly, because you know he's doing that as well. And yet he should be spending his time making sure that the laws are lawfully placed into law, that they are followed. Listen, this is just total malfeasance. And he ought to be, Well, let me take you down to Florida now, because there's a parallel story down in Florida, and Josh Stein might want to take note. Now, granted, in the state of Florida, they have a governor, Ron DeSantis, who is very, very, very conservative, is a no-nonsense governor. Here in North Carolina, you know who your governor is, Roy Cooper.
A chameleon.
Well,
he will be whatever he needs to be, or whatever the DNC tells him to be.
Exactly.
I mean,
whatever,
that's what he'll do.
Exactly. Whatever the folks up in D.C. that run the Democrat Party tell him, that's what he'll do. Earlier today, Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suspended liberal state attorney Andrew Warren. DeSantis made the announcement during a social media press conference. DeSantis argued that Warren has repeatedly refused to enforce laws passed by the legislature cracking down on child sex change surgeries and abortion restrictions. Quote, "We are suspending Source-backed 13th Circuit State Attorney Andrew Warren for neglecting his duties as he pledges not to uphold the laws of the state," DeSantis said in a statement. The 13th Circuit falls over Florida's Hillsborough County. The Constitution of Florida has vested the veto power in the governor, not the state's attorney. DeSantis said, "We're not going to allow this pathogen of ignoring the law to get a foothold in the state of Florida." DeSantis said Warren put ideology over the rule of law. That's exactly what Josh Stein is doing.
And has been doing ever since he was elected the first term.
I mean, he basically has said, we don't give a what, who cares, or you can fill in the blank, about what Republicans pass, what the law is. We are going to enforce what we feel like is okay, what we feel like is right.
Well, I think an important point in Josh Stein's statement that you just read just a second ago was Josh Stein said he would do everything that's in his power. Okay, a fair question to him, say, Attorney General Josh Stein, what is in your power? Are you going by the state's constitution of what is granted to the Attorney General, or Josh Stein's physical or political power of just choosing, like you said, choosing what to enforce and what not to enforce?
Because his power to ignore the law is, he has no power.
No.
He has no power. His job is to enforce the law.
And in that statement there, he obviously politically agrees, that agrees with the Democrats that, the whole Supreme Court case shouldn't have been overturned and that type of thing. But, I mean, he doesn't have the ability to say, I'm going to just insert my political opinion on something. He's got to follow the law. But he's in that statement says, I am not going to do my job. I am not going to follow the Constitution.
Malfeasance.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. DeSantis suspended Andrew Warren after the state attorney pledged not to charge abortion patients or their doctors for illegally terminating pregnancies. Warren made the vow in June, days before the state law banning abortion after 15 weeks was set into effect. We had the individual here from Hillsborough County say and signed letters that there are certain laws he just won't enforce or won't prosecute, DeSantis told Fox News in an exclusive interview after the press conference where he announced the suspension. States' attorneys that put their ideology over the rule of law are not satisfying their oath to office. Did you hear that, Josh? DeSantis said during the press conference that Warren repeatedly refused to enforce laws the legislature passed cracking down on child sex change surgeries and abortion restrictions. DeSantis, as a part of a suspension order, appointed Hillsborough County Judge Susan Lopez to replace Warren. Florida Democrats, including the gubernatorial candidate and Commissioner of Agriculture, Nikki Fried, denounced the decision, calling DeSantis a wannabe dictator. Wait a minute. DeSantis is a wannabe dictator. Now, who is following the law here? Who is following the law? It's not this guy Warren. DeSantis is following the law, but the guy that's rogue is just going out on his own and saying, I'll do what I darn well please. Oh, he's not a dictator. DeSantis is. Wow. DeSantis said, I do think that some of these prosecutors that have a very militant agenda in terms of ideology have been able to get away with a lot in other states. They have had prosecutors around this country that think they can pick and choose which laws to enforce. Can you say Josh Stein? All these articles that we have covered on this state, including going back to this Mandy Cohen article, that Mandy Cohen very well might face a lawsuit, or at least her office will. This is important because when Mandy Cohen came in and said, we're going to shut down this Ace Speedway She looked at herself as, I'm above the law. I can do whatever I darn well please. We have the governor in office, and I was appointed by the governor, and I can do whatever I want to do because we have the power. And that's why it's so important that Mandy Cohen and the governor's office get knocked down a couple of notches. And Josh Stein, I hope you're paying attention to what's happening to Mandy Cohen. I hope you're paying attention to what's going on down in Florida, because there's going to come a time that you're going to be held accountable. And I hope they hold your feet to the fire. I'm tired of the days when, once some rogue politician is out of office, they say, well, let's bygones be bygones. No. This is why they get away with this crap, is because nothing ever happens to them. And I say it over and over again. They personally need to be held responsible when they break the law.
We were talking before we went back on air about this. So apparently, I guess Florida's governor has the ability with the Florida Constitution to remove the state attorney because, I was reading an article, I guess in Axios, yes, that former Governor Rick Scott in Florida removed a state attorney a few years ago because of vowing not to seek the death penalty in Florida, which, Florida, I think Florida's pretty good at enforcing the death penalty down there. So apparently their Constitution allows for that. I don't know about North Carolina's. If we had a Republican governor, could he remove Josh Stein? We know.
We know.
No,
Cooper's not going
to do that. But
I would tell you this, though, and again, I am not familiar. If anybody's out there, if any attorneys are out there listening, call in and let us know whether or not the governor would have that power if he chose to do that. Because if we had this kind of shenanigans right now and Mark Robinson was the governor,
yeah, if he had that ability, he would enforce it. I think.
You know.
But But back on the issue at hand of abortion, remember, just look how far we've come, though, even from the Democrats' position, which Bill Clinton's position. He said that abortion should be legal and rare.
Right.
But think of where we've gotten to in the Democrat Party, where they think it should be not only legal but any time or place up to the point the child is born.
Yeah, infanticide.
Yeah, and I just in a lot of states that are Democrat controlled, I mean that they have been changing those laws for 3 or 4 years now to get that extreme. Virginia and New York, I think, are two of them.
Right.
And with the Kansas vote a couple of days ago, I still don't think most people in America would go that it should be, even the people that think some abortion in some form should be allowed. I just don't think people should, in general, would think that, hey, the child is born, do you want it or do you not want it? I just don't think America thinks like that. In the majority.
Yeah, I would agree with you, but
I hope not.
And what is bizarre is that there are actually, that there would be any Americans that think that way.
And I think there's probably more than we like to know about, but I just don't think it's anywhere close to the majority.
How you can be an elected official as governor of the state of Virginia and come out and propagate that stance, which Northam did. Ralph Northam did. Came out and just said, it's a private decision. You've got a living human being on the birthing table. The child is born. At that point, it's a decision, and this is what Northam said, it's a decision between the doctor and the mother as to whether or not the child should survive. Unbelievable.
And I think about,
Oh, really? Keith Kidwell. I ask and he shows up.
He listens to the top-rated show in Eastern North Carolina.
Yeah. So, Keith, what is the law in North Carolina? Turn your radio down a minute, Keith. I'm hearing myself.
Go ahead. Is that better?
Yes, sir. So, what is the law? Does the governor have the right to fire a state prosecutor or a state attorney general, for that matter? Now he's elected, obviously.
So your state attorney general is an elected official, so he cannot be fired. He can be impeached by the General Assembly.
Okay, so, when are you going to start?
Believe me, were it up to I solely, we'd have started that process long ago.
Where do you think this stands with the 20-week ban that your boss Tim Moore and Phil Berger are working to see re-implemented?
The 20-week ban is something that is actually, it was on our books, but it was enjoined by the courts a couple of years back. And what they need to do is they do need to readdress that. Now, one of the good things is we recently had a ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court that said when, basically it was on a different topic, but I believe the same thing would hold true, that when the Attorney General fails to represent the wishes of the General Assembly, that we can hire outside counsel to do so.
Right. Was that the North Carolina case in which they made that decision?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, it applies to every state, I guess, but obviously it applies to North Carolina. And I would think, yeah, you're right. If it applied to the, I'm trying to remember which case was that they applied. That was the MAPS case, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Problem when that was going on is we were in session, so I was paying too much attention to what we were doing in session to follow that too closely. But yeah, the problem is you do have, Tom, is that our governor does think that he has all kinds of powers, but he's not going to go against Attorney General Stein. They're kind of buddies.
Right.
And we'll be introducing legislation in the next session to deal with the Roe v. Wade decision. And take it back, dial it back even further. If I had it my way, we would do it for the life of the mother. That would pretty much be about it. Children are a miracle of God, and we've got to treat it as such. When we devalue life, we end up with people that don't understand the value of life, and that makes it okay to go out and kill people.
I absolutely agree with that. I think we are living in a death culture, and if people have this attitude that I can take a life if it's inconvenient or imperfect, then I can also take a life if that person is an irritant
Absolutely.
to me.
Pretty fundamental. Really.
Yeah. Keith, thanks for calling in. By the way, how are things looking? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what is your feeling about supermajorities in the legislature?
Well, looks like we're going to do very well in November, Tom. We only need 3 seats in the House. We feel like we're going to take considerably more than that. We need 2 in the Senate. We think we're probably going to get at least 4 or 5. And, of course, we do need to get the Supreme Court with at least one of those seats. I think we're going to do that. And I've been telling people when that happens, I will personally get a nice-sized suitcase, and I'm going to Facebook Live it. I'm going to walk to the governor's mansion, read a note to him that I will leave that says, Governor, we have the supermajority of the House, the Senate, and the courts. Since you're now irrelevant, kindly pack and go home.
You'll even help him pack, won't you?
I will. I'll rent the truck.
There you go. Keith Kidwell. Hey, Keith, thanks for calling in. Thanks for listening and calling in. Do appreciate it.
Thanks.
Enjoy your break. You're up in Raleigh more than you're home, so while you're home for the next...
There's been no break, Tom. I'm going across the state with the North Carolina Freedom Caucus. As you know, I'm the chairman of the caucus, and I'm doing everything I can to make sure that we win every possible election, from the boards of education to the U.S. Senate and House, fighting for every member we can for the North Carolina House and Senate, and that's what I'm going to be spending my summer doing.
Keith, thank you, sir.
Thanks for your service.
Putting your money, yeah, absolutely. Put your money where your mouth is. Keith Kidwell calling in. All right, thank you, Keith. 561-8255. Let's play political trivia, shall we? Right now, let's open up the phone lines. 561-8255. Your category is the Wild West. It's going to go quick. I promise you. Benny got it in less than 30 seconds. 561-8255. Got a great prize package. We'll play when we get back.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. Empty lots at car dealers everywhere. Except here. The selection you want is at Greenville Nissan. And during the Nissan Thrill of the Drive sales event, buy a new Nissan with financing as low as 0.9%. The versatile Nissan Rogue, the all-new Pathfinder, or gas-saving cars like Nissan Sentra and Altima. And yes, we have trucks. Buy the new Nissan Titan with 0.9% financing, or the all-new Frontier for $99 a month. Hurry to Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
We're on location today at Fabric and Home Furnishings, Arlington Village on Arlington Boulevard here in Greenville. One of my favorite places in town, one of my favorite people in town. My buddy Lisa Pendry is here. And Lisa, when I walked in this morning, the place always looks great, but there's something new here. You got a brand new room. Tell us what's going on.
We do, Henry. We are opening a Norwalk gallery, and we are so excited because this company is so custom. Been in business since 1902, built in Norwalk, Ohio. Tons of wood colors to choose from, over 900 fabric choices, and I've got a design team that can make it fabulous and help you find unique styles.
So when you say custom, a custom furniture line, what does that mean exactly?
You can literally choose the cushion, the fabric. You can even choose the thread color with this company. So wood choices, amazing fabrics, put 3 fabrics on 1 sofa, as much fun as you want to have.
And that's what people want these days. They want it to be exactly the way they want it, so you can get that with Norwalk.
You can.
All right, what else is new? You've always got some other interesting things going on here.
Well, we have some new fabrics that have arrived, but I've also, in this new showroom, I've added a friend of mine that's opened a company in Hickory, North Carolina called Hickory Lux. Done business with him for a long time, but we're adding to that because he can deliver in 6 to 8 weeks instead of 8 months like some of these companies are, doing right now.
And as we always say, Fabric and Home Furnishings is a furniture store and so much more. And the so much more is you guys offer design services. I know you're a designer yourself. You have a design team here, so you can offer that full service for people.
I do. I've got the best design team ever. We do commercial design and residential. And there's a lot of decisions that go into what you want your home to be. So we send somebody right out to the house for a flat one-time fee, not an hourly fee. And we analyze it, make a friend, and make it easy and painless and fabulous for people.
Fabric and Home Furnishings here in Arlington Village.
All right, welcome back in. It is time for a little political trivia. Your category, the Wild West. Your prize package includes a free oil change for your car or pickup at Dave Davis's East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep or at Washington Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. A gift certificate from Fit for Life 24, including 2 free training sessions with a coach. A $20 gift card to Mucho Bueno for lunch or dinner. Mucho Bueno, real Mexican street food located in front of the Westbrook Shopping Center, US 70 West in Havelock. A $20 gift card to Gwendy's Goodies Bakery in Ayden, delicious made-from-scratch goodies. Also a gift certificate to the Ironwood Golf and Country Club. Remember, if you or anyone in your immediate family have won recently, let 60 days pass before you play again. First up, from Winterville, it's Donovan. Hey, Donovan.
Hey, Donovan.
Yo, how you doing?
Doing well. You ready to play?
I'm going to take a chance being the first one.
All right. Your category is the Wild West. Here's your question. This week, 146 years ago, an event happened which affected the game of poker. This event named a particular poker hand the dead man's hand. What, and we need this needs to be pretty specific. What was this event we are referring to?
Aces and 8 killed Wild Bill Hickok.
You got it! I said it was going to be quick. I think you even beat Benny on that. Wow. Yeah, that's specific. 146 years ago, 1876, Wild Bill Hickok was shot in the head from behind, killed while playing poker at a saloon in Deadwood, South Dakota. He was holding a pair of aces and eights, which has since been known at poker tables as the dead man's hand. Congratulations, Donovan.
I appreciate that.
All right, hang on the line because Clark's going to get all your information and we'll get you those goodies in the mail. Stay with us. Benny and I will be right back.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Empty lots at car dealers everywhere, except here. The selection you want is at Greenville Nissan. And during the Nissan Thrill of the Drive sales event, buy a new Nissan with financing as low as 0.9%. The versatile Nissan Rogue, the all-new Pathfinder, or gas-saving cars like Nissan Sentra and Altima. And yes, we have trucks. Buy the new Nissan Titan with 0.9% financing, or the all-new Frontier for $99 a month. Hurry to Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
We're on location today at Fabric and Home Furnishings, Arlington Village on Arlington Boulevard here in Greenville. One of my favorite places in town, one of my favorite people in town. My buddy Lisa Pendry is here. And Lisa, when I walked in this morning, the place always looks great, but there's something new here. You got a brand new room. Tell us what's going on.
We do, Henry. We are opening a Norwalk gallery, and we are so excited because this company is so custom. Been in business since 1902, built in Norwalk, Ohio. Tons of wood colors to choose from, over 900 fabric choices, and I've got a design team that can make it fabulous and help you find unique styles.
So when you say custom, a custom furniture line, what does that mean exactly?
You can literally choose the cushion, the fabric. You can even choose the thread color with this company. So wood choices, amazing fabrics, put 3 fabrics on 1 sofa, as much fun as you want to have.
And that's what people want these days. They want it to be exactly the way they want it, so you can get that with Norwalk.
You can.
All right, what else is new? You've always got some other interesting things going on here.
Well, we have some new fabrics that have arrived, but I've also, in this new showroom, I've added a friend of mine that's opened a company in Hickory, North Carolina called Hickory Luxe. Done business with him for a long time, but we're adding to that because he can deliver in 6 to 8 weeks instead of 8 months like some of these companies are, doing right now.
And as we always say, Fabric and Home Furnishings is a furniture store and so much more. And the so much more is you guys offer design services. I know you're a designer yourself. You have a design team here, so you can offer that full service for people.
I do. I've got the best design team ever. We do commercial design and residential. And there's a lot of decisions that go into what you want your home to be. So we send somebody right out to the house for a flat one-time fee, not an hourly fee. And we analyze it, make a friend, and make it easy and painless and fabulous for people.
Fabric and Home Furnishings here in Arlington Village. My friend Lisa Pendry. It's a furniture store and so much more. Come see them.
Back to the show that really makes you think.
He is a genius.
He's all powerful.
He brought a kind of heat.
He could be the best. Just don't hurt yourself, okay? More news and views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Congratulations to Donovan Arnold of Winterville. He got it right off the bat. Sorry for everybody on hold, but Donovan took away your thunder. Yeah, it was this week, 146 years ago. Wild Bill Hickok got shot in the back of the head.
I have seen I've seen Wild Bill's pistols in the Buffalo Bill Museum in Cody, Wyoming.
Really?
Mm-hmm. If you ever go to Cody, Wyoming, the Buffalo Bill Museum is worth the stop.
So he died, and I think he's buried up in Deadwood, South, which is up in the Black Hills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Joe Manchin is been in the news a lot. There was an interesting story that broke last night as we were finishing up the program. Didn't get to it, but it really is rather interesting. And, we've been speculating, okay, what did Joe Manchin get out of this deal? Because there was something that had to have been agreed to for Joe Manchin to suddenly say, okay, I will get behind your Build Back Better or the Anti-Inflation Act of 2022.
It's not a evening with Nancy Pelosi.
That would seal the deal that he would vote against it.
I'm certain it's not that.
Anyway, Fox News did some digging, and of the approximately $6.1 million he has in his campaign treasure chest, this is unbelievable. So he's got $6.1 million in his campaign coffer. How much money do you think came from individuals in the state of West Virginia? $65,000 of $6.1 million, which when I saw that, my first thought was, okay, maybe he wasn't promised something. Maybe he was threatened.
Yeah.
That if you don't vote for this, we're going to cut off the $6.1 million money spigot.
Yeah, I think it's more than that. I think it's Joe Manchin is a fairly wealthy man. When the last financial disclosure I looked at, it seemed like it was 25 to 50 million or something. I mean, he's pretty wealthy, I think. So, I mean, he doesn't need the money personally. It's been speculation he was not going to run again. He's early 70s.
Yeah.
I think it's something more than that. I really think it's something more politically. I mean, the only thing that he can, if he really cares about his legacy politically, is to be president of the United States. I just think it's more than because he just won, re-election in West Virginia 2 years ago. So he's up for 4 years from now, I believe.
He comes up in 2024.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's more to it than the money. But you think about West Virginia in terms of where the money is in West Virginia, it's in coal and other natural resources, coal, oil, timber and other things. And the Democrat Party is pretty much anything anti-business as it relates to natural resources. So I can't imagine him getting any money from people in West Virginia that's in those industries. So
well, and part of this bill is, I think, was it a 40% increase on the tax on coal? Mm-hmm. I mean, it could be crippling to West Virginia. And it's really interesting. It's like the Democrats don't get it. I mean, they're just brain dead, because if you remember how under Obama they just crippled the coal industry, and you had entire towns that were ghost towns because of what Obama did to the coal industry. Donald Trump comes in and it breathes new life into these towns. They open back up, and what happens? They go back and do it again.
And the funny thing is, I'd like for us to find alternative sources of fuel, and renewables if they're there. But this whole push of in coal, in natural gas, in fossil fuels, and replace it with going out there and you get a great big huge excavator that's run on diesel fuel, that you can only run on diesel fuel, and you dig a bunch of damn big holes in the ground to dig up a material to make a battery.
Yeah.
For a car. I mean, it's the typical liberal logic that makes no sense what they're doing.
And who has all the nickel? China.
Yeah. Or places that they're, just like Afghanistan's full of it, and China is trying their best. Afghanistan is a good route for Afghanistan, through Afghanistan, to go a lot of other places, not to mention they have a lot of natural resources that relates to batteries.
There were, the Democrats dug up a bunch of economists. I think it was like 130 economists that came out and said, this Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 is great. It's going to help the economy. It will reduce inflation. Economic experts from the other side of that argument, in fact, 230 economists are arguing now that the Infrastructure Reduction Act, or the Inflation Reduction Act, or the Build Back Better Act, whatever you want to call it, will not curb inflation. In fact, it is going to make inflation much, much worse. And they've come out and they said, look, Joe Manchin and Biden are absolutely wrong on this issue. And at least you think, they found a bunch of conservatives. These are professors from the University of Chicago, Princeton University, Duke University, University of Virginia, Columbia University, University of Notre Dame, just among a few, to name a few, that signed. These are 230 economists from across the country with all kinds of different backgrounds and saying this is bad news. The other interesting thing is, where's Kirsten Sinema on this? Interestingly,
the most powerful person in Washington now.
Right now, I don't think we got time to play her quote, but she had said, I had the audio of her saying that. She had said, I had a couple of guiding principles that still guide the work that I'm doing today. Now, she mentioned this a couple of months ago. And first and foremost is that I will only support tax policies that promote growth and economic stability, particularly during a time of coming through this pandemic, rising inflation, and what we think is a coming recession. So I am unwilling to support any tax policies that would put a brake on that type of economic growth or stall business and personal growth for American industries. I retain that position. Everyone knows it. Some people aren't happy about it, but that's my position. And so if conversations do start again, which I'm not sure if they will or not, I'll be bringing that position back to the negotiations. You all know, the entire country knows, that I'm opposed to raising the corporate income tax. That was true yesterday, and it is true today. Those are comments she made before the Arizona Commerce folks, and she, as far as we know, she hasn't rescinded those ideas. So,
yeah, and what she didn't say there, she says, and also bring me the goodies if you want to change my mind.
I'm sure Joe got some goodies. I don't know what they were. Maybe one day we'll find out. Hey, thanks for being with us. Congratulations again to Donovan Arnold, our political trivia winner. And we'll do it again tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, all right, all right.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
What do you see when you imagine life on the coast? Is it salty or sweet? Is it refined or a bit wild? Perhaps it's the perfect combination of everything you ever dreamed of. This is the very best of the best of living on the coast. Bow Coast.
And we're on location at one of my favorite places in the whole planet, because this is some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. We are at Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. It's one of my hangouts. It's one of the places that I love. I got my friend Pietro Pasalacqua. How'd I do?
You did great.
Let's talk about the food. What makes this place? I know it's special Italian from authentic Italians, but tell us why it's so special.
Because everything we do, it's really what we came up on the menu from what we did at home, from my grandparents, my parents. So it's exactly what we eat at home, and that's the way we cook. That's why it's special.
And the atmosphere in this place is special also. From the bar to the two dining areas. You got two different dining areas, and now the weather's nice, so there's going to be a lot of folks that want to eat outside.
Yeah, we have two rooms. One room is designed a little different. We're also working on the patio to make it more attractive and more useful in the summer with a cocktail service.
I've considered myself a liberal for years, and
2 weeks ago I became a Republican.
As 1 million voters make
I used to be a Democrat.
the switch,
I was a liberal, definitely liberal Democrat.
we'd like to welcome them to the less divisive side of the conversation.
Thank you for waking me up. I was a raging liberal and more or less a political idiot. I'm a conservative now. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Eastern Carolina's place to talk about everything.
I've considered myself a liberal for years, and
2 weeks ago I became a Republican.
As 1 million voters make
I used to be a Democrat.
the switch,
I was a liberal, definitely liberal Democrat.
we'd like to welcome them to the less divisive side of the conversation.
Thank you for waking me up.